Hi, and welcome to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. My name is Bill Moore. I'm the founder of Food Truck Training Group on Facebook, co-owner with my beautiful wife, Melissa, of our own food truck. It's called Food Truck 101, and I'm the executive director of the National Street Food Vendors Association, which is a nonprofit dedicated to education, advocacy, and uplifting all food vendors. So I got a question for you. Do you have bad sales? Are you a new food truck owner? Well, we're going to be talking about the traits that some new food truck owners have that impact their sales. But before we get into that, I want to remind you guys we're going to be in Orlando, Florida this year, November 12th and 13th. We're going to be a part of the Food Truck Owners Expo. I'll be giving two classes. One is on marketing in the off-season. The other is on writing a profitable menu. After I give those two classes, I'm going to be out on the main expo floor. I'm going to kick off the Campfire Networking Lounge, and then you guys, after that little talk, can come join me at my association's booth and sit down and ask me more questions, get to know me, I'll get to know you, take some pictures, sign some autographs, and we'll have an awesome time. Again, that's November 12th and 13th in Orlando, Florida. If you haven't got your tickets, now's the time to do it. Go to FTOexpo.com, place the order today, and when you do, put in the code FTTG15 for a 15% discount. I want to thank Table Needs for sponsoring this episode of the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. Table Needs is a full-service POS system capable of handling your busy food truck, cash, credit card, and reporting needs. For more information about Table Needs, just check out the link in the description below. So let's talk about those 5 traits, those 5 subtle traits that new food truck owners have when they probably are also experiencing poor sales. One of the things that I learned a long time ago, and it took me a while to learn it because I was stubborn, is that my personal taste is not the taste that perhaps the rest of the world has. One of the very first products that I realized this on was a product that we were selling in our restaurant. It was called strawberry shortcake. Now you're probably going, that's not very impressive. And you're right, it wasn't. It's a super easy thing to do. We bought strawberries, we cut them up, we emascerated them, and then we just put them on the little strawberry shortcake disc that you buy, added some whipped cream to it, and called it a dessert. It was relatively inexpensive. If I remember right, it was under $2 at the time. This was back in the early 80s. Actually, I think it was actually in the late 70s now that I think about it, because I was a crew person back then. And one of the things that I noticed was I really, really liked it. I would have one with every single meal break that I would go on, and I just encouraged everybody to sell it because I thought it was a great dessert. Problem was, not a whole lot of other people agreed with me. It was a simple dessert and certainly something you could make at home, so I spent $2 when back then you could probably get a whole bunch of strawberries, certainly a whole bunch of shortcakes, and a whole bunch of whipped cream and make more than one. So there just wasn't that perceived value. Of course, I had no clue what that meant back in the day. All I knew was it tasted really, really good and I didn't want to see it go away. Well, it went away. And I was super disappointed. So when I got my own hot dog cart, I said, you know what? We're doing strawberry shortcake because I can do it better than the restaurant could. Well, no, I couldn't. I bought a whole bunch of product and ate probably 95% of it. I sold just a couple. The thing of it is, whatever you think's awesome may not be. And you can see this when you go around different pockets of the country. Think about barbecue, for instance, and how it's done differently between St. Louis and the Carolinas and Nashville and Houston, Texas. All of those have different varieties of what they think the perfect barbecue rub or sauce or taste should be like, and yet they all sell really well in their areas. Sweet tea versus unsweet tea. Coleslaw, mayonnaise-based or vinegar-based. All of those products have different flavors and in certain parts of the country are extremely popular. So understand what's popular in your area, especially if you didn't grow up there. So don't rely on your personal taste. You want to test your products on people that you don't know. So take stuff to work, take stuff to church, hold a random pop-up, give away free food and let people sample it. Get some type of feedback so you'll understand if your thought process on the taste makes sense to the other people that are going to be buying your food. Because remember, you're going to eat it anyway, but you want other people to buy it. Another trait that newbie food truck owners have that also have poor sales is they're inconsistent on social media. And it's not posting, because I know of many food trucks that post pretty much daily, multiple times a day, but they've turned their social media into an open or closed sign, because that's all that you can see on their social media. You look up the food truck and you start to scroll and say, what's this person about? Hey, I'm open. Hey, I'm open. Hey, I'm closed. Hey, I sold out. Hey, I'm closed. And that's all you see. I'm open or I'm closed. Okay, that's really awesome. But you know what? All that's historical, because the 2 posts that you made yesterday that say I'm open and I'm closed are history. No one cares. So as you scroll through your social media, look and see, is it all historical that no one cares about, or is it relevant to what somebody that wants to eat at your food truck is going to want to know? Like pictures of your food, descriptions of your food, just random questions that you just want to engage with your guests on social media. Ask a question. Doesn't have to do anything with your food truck. It can be something as simple as, what's your all's favorite flavor of tea? Do you like straight tea? Do you like raspberry? You may not even sell tea. Or you can ask something about an activity going on in your local community. Are you guys going to be attending the parade next week? I'm going to be there. What's your favorite thing about the 4th of July? What's your favorite food to eat at Thanksgiving? And you may not sell any of that food. What's your favorite recipe that your grandmother used to make? Ask questions. Get people responding. Engagement. It's all about engagement. You want people to go to your social media page because they're interested in you as a business. Hey, wonder what they're saying today. Let me go check them out. Not, I wonder if they're open or closed, because that's not encouraging. Social media should never be an open and closed sign. Look at your past posts. Are they reflective of you as a person, or are they just an open and closed sign? One of the other traits that food truck owners do, especially newbies, is they neglect the visual appeal of the food truck itself. When you buy that new food truck, you're out there polishing it and shining it and making it look awesome. But within a few weeks, you start to get tired of that. The newness is worn off. So now instead of armor-alling the tires every week, you're now ignoring them completely, and they've got mud and dust and debris all over them. Every flat surface where something can land as you drive through town, it lands there, but you haven't gone to wipe it off. You'll start to see things like pollen grouping in corners, and it starts to make your food truck look old and dusty and dingy. The only time that's appealing is in October, when you can say, hey, I'm going for that haunted food truck look. The whole rest of the year, your food truck needs to be very clean, very shiny, and the details do matter. People notice it. Whether they say anything or not doesn't matter, but when they step up and they notice, and they don't have to think it, all they got to do is notice it. Their eyes have taken it in. An opinion about you is forming, whether they realize it or not. Man, the food truck, it's a little dirty. That's what the brain is saying. They may not actually have that thought, but it makes them start to question. I wonder if the inside's as bad as the outside look. And then think about where you're parking. If you have a perfectly shiny, spit-polished food truck or food trailer, and you pull up to a parking lot that's covered in debris and weeds, you look like you're covered in debris and weeds, even though none of that may be yours. Pay attention to what's going on around you. Improve your visual appeal. Keep your product looking awesome, and it needs to come out of a food truck that looks just as awesome. Another trait is newbie food truck owners lack the ability to network within their local food truck community. Now, a whole bunch of people, when they start doing a food truck, join Facebook groups, and there's a whole bunch of them out there. But the group is populated by people that don't operate food trucks. So they're going to give you their opinion as a guest. There are 3 groups like that. We just caught and passed one of them. Remember, we're a private group. We've been private since day one because Bill didn't want just random people joining. I wanted people that cared about the industry joining. I wanted people that were interested in becoming food truck owners or some type of food vendor to join. So the network within our group is people that are either quiet because they don't post, and there's a bunch of those, or they own or want to own a food truck. So they're there to learn or to help. You go to the other 3 public that turn private groups, and the one of them still public, you're getting a whole bunch of consumers, and they're going to throw in their opinion whenever it strikes them, but their opinion has no experience behind it. Network with people that actually own food trucks. Do it a little bit on social media, but do it a whole bunch in your area. Learn their names. Help the other food truck owners. If you help the food truck community become better and stronger, guess what happens? You get to make more money. Why? Because as the standards go up and up and up, there will be a number of food trucks that can't live up to those standards. So learn about your area. Introduce yourself, and you'll find out real quick who is going to be helpful and who is not. And that's okay. All you got to do is stick your hand out and say, hi, my name is Bill. I've got a food truck. I would love to follow you on Facebook. Do you have a Facebook page? And please, would you follow us? If you guys are ever out and about and you need something, look us up. If we're open, I'll come help. Food truck owners that help each other will trade supplies. They will sell each other supplies. They will help fix things. They will give advice. They'll have those little bits of equipment that each other may need and share. Network. You're not in this alone. The fifth trait, and this is one that even old, experienced food truck owners do, and that is ignoring data and KPIs, key performance indicators. A lot of food truck owners have no clue what their food cost is. They just know what they're spending every week because that comes out of their bank account. That's not food cost. That's a food expense. A whole bunch of food truck owners don't know what the labor percent is. They just know they got to spend a certain dollar amount to get open and close, and they don't work to improve that number. We get accustomed to productivity and go, man, I need all these people. And that's just not the case. I've seen this so many times when I've gone to open a new restaurant. You overstaff. You have to, because the productivity is not there that you know can be there. But food truck owners don't know what productivity is because they have never seen it ran efficiently. They're hoping they're running it efficiently, and they're hoping they're not wasting money on labor. But the majority of food truck owners that I know are wasting labor. They don't send people home when it gets slow. They don't have any kind of a schedule where people come in when they expect it to be busy, and then those people go home when they expect it to slow down. Typically, they have a prep person who is there all day with them and helps them close. They may have a cashier come in right when they open, and they keep that cashier all day long till they close. They feel like they need 3 people or 4 people. You don't always need 4 people on the clock. Productivity is one of those things that ebbs and flows throughout the day. But we get accustomed to it. And then we got to have 4 people. That's what it takes to run my food truck. And I watch and I go, ooh, you're wasting money. I'll give you one example and we'll close out this podcast. There's a food truck that I worked with in Houston, Texas. I went to visit them and it was a very slow day. Okay, slow days happen. We all have them. They're set up in a food truck park. And I thought, well, just a bad day. It's a little bit misty, a little bit chilly for that time of year. So people just weren't out. No big deal. So they were able to sit and talk to me, and we had a good time. So I'm with them a whole week, and every day was like that. Even the days when the weather was really, really pretty, and it was quite warm, spring-like, the kind of weather we like to get out and do things in, and they weren't busy. And yet there were 2 people on the clock all day long. So I said, hey, why don't you send somebody home? Because it's probably going to be just like it was yesterday. Oh, no, it takes 2 of us to run this. Really? You're getting 1 order every 15, 20 minutes, and it takes 2 people? Seriously? Yeah, I got to have them. Well, you're burning labor. It's your money. You can waste it. Understand what productivity means. Your people need to be busy. If they're not busy and they're able to pull out their phone, you have a problem. Send them home. You will learn. Quit being afraid. So that's 5 tips, 5 little traits that new food truck owners and even some experienced food truck owners have that cause them not to be profitable. Thank you guys so much for listening to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. If you're finding everything that we talk about helpful, please subscribe to the podcast. And if you really like what we do, you can show us a little bit of support. There's a link in the description to make that happen. Until next time, you guys have a profitable day.